I'm actually Fort Defiance, which is at the merger of the Ohio and the Mississippi River. The Fort Defiance was a fort that I believe was initially erected by the French before this area was settled, and then became an actual fort during the Civil War. There's really not much left of the fort. I don't know if this foundation here was part of the original fort. No, it's brick. It couldn't be. Brick and iron. But this is the location of the fort. And here is the Mississippi. And right here is the merger. And there is the Ohio. And there's a coal barge right here at the side here. And there's actually several barges down there. There's actually one coming down the Ohio right there. That might actually be a grain barge, because I think it left the elevator up there, that grain elevator up there. But here is the confluence of the Ohio and Mississippi. Now this year the river is up a little bit, but not, it's still low. But over there you can see the buoy where the pass for the barges. Haven't seen any barges down the Mississippi, but this one here that's coming up or south on the Ohio is going to be merging into the Mississippi here. But so, all right, well folks, oh, there's a plaque up here. Well, let's see if we can read the plaque. Okay, it says here, proceeding on. In November 1803, Meriwether Lewis and William Clark and their growing contingent of Corps of Discovery men spent 5 days here teaching each other the celestial navigation and surveying skills. That's why I say I think this was a French fort to begin with. So the sculpture was fabricated by Everett Badler and installed in 2005. Then this little lookout here is supposed to look like a ship or a riverboat. All right, folks. Yeah, see, if you look on the Mississippi side, see how they got the marks on the pillars for the water table. and it's below the lowest mark. So all right, folks, until the next time, thanks for watching. Well, folks, we're this is Larry from Rushing Forward Adventures, back to you. We are at another place. This is Belmont, Battle of Belmont and Columbus State Park. Which just across there is the Mississippi. This is a little bit about troops under General Leonidas Polk fortified strategic lines at the Buffs here September 3rd, 1861, making CSA's first move in Kentucky. That's Confederate Army to prevent passage of Union gunboats. A huge chain was stretched across the Mississippi River. After Union success in Tennessee, CSA evacuated March 2nd, 1862. Union troops moved to the next day and held position throughout the war. But nice little park. There's little signs, posts up about the advancement and so forth of the troops through this area, and they've got a few cannons. We'll walk down here and read this sign, and then go up and read some of the other ones. So I'll bring you back when we get up to this sign here. All right, this is a little bit about the Confederate trenches that were dug out, and the main objective of the Confederate Army in fortifying Columbus was to block Union movements on the Mississippi River. In so doing, they also had to protect their position in the inland attack. The trenches through which the trail leads are part of an elaborate system of earthworks dug by the Confederate soldiers. These trenches were heavily fortified with cannon and rifle batteries, which it is, you can see, quite muddy, so I don't think I'll go back through there, but that's the trenches. Here is an actual display, looks like, of it. We'll get a view of it here. Fort DeRuzy, which you can see we're about right here, so this goes all the way back there. And from what I understand, there's not really nothing left of the fort, which was an earthen fort to begin with. But like I said, it's quite muddy. They had major rains last night, but I'll bring you back here shortly. This is a big anchor and chain. This is an anchor and chain from, okay, this is what they'd run across as a blockade. The rebels have a chain across the river about a mile above Columbus. It is sustained by flats and intervals, chain passing through steepless placed where the water's edge. The chain passes under the boats. Report from a Union spy to General Ulysses S. Grant in January 1862. It was stretched mile-long chain across the Mississippi River from Fort DeRussy on the Iron Banks Bluff north of Columbus to Capstan on the Belmont, Missouri shore. Polk hoped Union ships coming down the river would be stopped by the chain long enough for cannon fire to sink them. Most of the chain was removed after the Union occupation of Columbus in March 1862. The effort obviously failed because they found the chain and anchors. In December 1925, a landslide on the edge of the bluff exposed a section of chain. Each link weighs 20 pounds 5 ounces. Digging at the end of the chain revealed an anchor measuring 15 feet 9.5 inches. The anchor had been buried 11 feet deep. So they dug the chain out in 1925. So that's the chain that was stretched across during the occupation. Isn't that neat? Well, let's see what this cannon is. This is kind of a different kind of a, well, this would have been, that'd be a fort cannon, I would think. Well, we'll see here. Polk's firepower. This model 1829 cannon number 209 was affectionately called a 32 poundly. Simply means a 32-pound round iron shot. Most of the large cannons used at Fort DeRussy, Henry, Donaldson, and Pillow, and Island number 10 were this size. Cast in 1839 at Fort Pitt Foundry in Pennsylvania. The cannon weighs nearly 4 tons and can fire a shot up to 1.5 miles. Captain Polk, Confederate General Polk, had 56 cannons of this type on his 140 cannon artillery standing watch over mighty Mississippi. Well, they had a big flood in 1927. Some of the other cannon fell into Mississippi River. Huge cannon. In search of. Cannon number 209 was actually recovered in 1991. Okay. I'll bring you back in a moment. Not sure if this was a part of the original fort. I don't believe so. I believe this was a just a building for people to cook in and so forth, because it's got little cooking fireplace in it, but you can see where it had a roof on it. There's a mighty Mississippi. Let's see what this sign says here. Federal gunboats on the Mississippi. USS Gunboat Lexington and the USS Gunboat Tyler. And there's Ulysses S. Grant. A little bit about him during the war. And he actually led some of the efforts onto this battle. And there's Polk. Got it fenced off because the erosion on the banks here you can see. But there's actually battlefield, Belmont battlefield over here on the other side of in the Missouri side, which I believe is that. All right. I'll bring you back in a little bit. There's some more of the earthen mounds. It looks like it was built. Now this house, I'm not sure. This, I believe, is the museum, which I believe this actually, but we'll see. A redoubt is a fort or fort system consisting of an enclosed defensive placement outside a larger fort, usually relying on earthworks. It's meant to protect soldiers outside the main defense line and can be a permanent structure or a temporary fortification. This earthen redoubt can be seen on this map of the Confederate fortifications drawn by the U.S. Army engineers later in the war. Well, now that's easy, nifty. So it's called a redoubt. All right, well, we're gonna walk up here. Well, this house is actually a museum, but it's closed, even though it says on the visitation thing it's supposed to be open at 8 a.m. But I believe this house actually existed during the Civil War. Well, we'll walk around. Let's go see the river again and read these signs and then head on out. Shame this is not open, but well, there's a sign up here on the thing. Well, I'll come back to you when we get up there. Well, we're on the front porch here. This is a Columbus, a town transformed. This view from this 180-foot bluffs was changed significantly in the last several centuries. Mississippi River has shifted course. Portions of the bluff have crumbled. The bustling town of Columbus, which once laid just beneath these bluffs, has largely vanished. And the view of Belmont across the river is not what it once was. The view of the bluffs looking towards the battlefield of Belmont in 1864. Map of Columbus and Belmont during the Civil War. Members of the 4th U.S. Colored Heavy Artillery on the Bluffs in 1864. (1907). Well, apparently there used to be a whole town down there. Pretty neat gunboats. There's an actual picture of some of the gunboats. There's a little bit about river traffic. Alright. Oh, that barge is on the ground. Grounded barge. Alright, I'll walk over there and read them signs. Well, folks, there's a lot of barges over there that are earthed or on the earth. Grounded. Now this is just about some of the earthquakes that happen along the fault line, the New Madrid fault line, earthquake of 1812. Crossing over. One of the busiest trading towns along the Mississippi River in the 1830s, Columbus, Kentucky. Boasted a post office, sawmill, tavern, 4 trading stores. Columbus became a part of the Indian removal and Trail of Tears in early, nearly 11,000 Cherokee led by John Benz arrived in 1838. They camped on a bluff overlooking the river, and town of Columbus, originally located on the riverbank. The bluff is now part of Columbus Belmont State Park. This is the bluff. It's just part of the Trail of Tears. $15,000 Cherokee. Wow. Not much barge traffic today. Fragment of a 6.4-inch gradual increase gun. Load apart. There's the bore right here. I don't Let's see here. African Americans at Columbus during the Civil War. Photo of escaped slaves known as contrabands. Loading supplies on a steamboat. Fourth United States Colored Heavy Artillery. Another cannon. That's a howitzer. It's just a lookout. Definitely not much river traffic. There is a couple barges up there. We are well south of where the Ohio branches off. It's way up that direction. So this is a Mississippi here. But it looks like two barges are passing, one going north, one going south. Quite peaceful and quiet here at the moment. Well, I think we'll see what this is. On November 6, 1861, Union General Ulysses S. Grant moved on Columbus from Cairo, Illinois, using steamboats. As Polk's defenses at Columbus were strong, Grant attacked Camp Johnston and Confederate outpost at Belmont, Missouri, across the river. November 7th, Union troops initially routed the Confederates, but after Southern reinforcements crossed the Mississippi River from Columbus, the Federals returned to Cairo. Alrighty. Well, folks, I think that's a wrap on today's events. Sorry the museum wasn't open. Heard quite a few visitors that have seen it were quite impressed. We're in March, so it's well out of season for these parks. But interesting change of pace. Hope you enjoyed it as much as I did traveling. And there is a couple more signs here I'll probably take a picture of, but we'll kind of go from there. Well, we're gonna go over here and read some about this here. They got this in the middle of the park here.
He's trying to climb in it, Dad.
Well, as soon as I started, he'll be gone.
I don't know, will you unlock it though? I'm cold.
You're cold?
Yeah, I'm really cold. There he goes.
That didn't take him long to climb a tree, did it? This cannon is a replica of a howitzer. So let's see what this is all about here. Oh, that's just a little more about the history of Columbus, Kentucky, and the destruction of it and the flood. They pass this way, home to thousands of men, women, and children. The Cherokee Nation once spread across parts of Georgia, North Carolina, Tennessee, and Alabama. In 1830, Indian Removal Act required the Cherokee surrender their land and move west. In 1838, more than 15,000 Cherokee began their trek west from their eastern homeland into Indian Territory, present-day Oklahoma, over the Trail of Tears. Bad day in American history. Under Jackson. You can see the routes that they had to take. The Cherokees come through here, which is through the Illinois, or through Illinois, Kentucky, and Missouri. But the Seminoles and the Creeks and the Choctaws and Chickasaws Andrew Jackson. Thank Andrew Jackson for that one. Here's a little bit more about the Battle of Belmont. The following maps text illustrate the Battle of Belmont, Missouri. The battle is broken into sections that explain the components of the overall battle. To understand the progression of the battle, match the number of each section to the number on the large map. This will help you understand where individual actions occurred and how each section relates to overall. So number 1, Federal approach. Which is there. Came down Hunter's Farm Road. Battle at the cornfield. Which the cornfield was here. This is the Camp Johnson. And there's the Belmont. Just if you see right across the river from the Confederate campment here. Okay, the Confederate troops were uprooted from Camp Johnson right here. The Confederate reinforcements crossed the Mississippi to advance upon the then Union troops at Camp Johnson. Then number 5 is when the Federal retreat, which is 5, where they retreated up to here. Then they had another battle at the landing, which is on this map all the way up here. Federal troops. There's the gunboats. Funny how both the North and South both claimed victory at Belmont. Wasn't a clear victory for either one. Okay, Grant's troops. 306 were wounded, 205 missing or captured, 95 killed. 7th Iowa suffered the most with 31 killed, 77 wounded, and 114 missing. Of those reported missing, many were Confederate prisoners to the end of the war. Polk's group, 419 wounded, 117 missing or captured, 105 killed. Oh, they had a prisoner exchange. After the battle, Confederate and Federal officers often met on steamers under the flag of truce. Their initial meeting discussed the exchange of prisoners. By mid-November, a total of 238 prisoners were exchanged on both sides. Social calls began after the exchange. Polk and Colonel Nathan Buford were friends and met many times while both were stationed in Kentucky. Grant never met Polk but before the battle, but both were graduates of West Point. At their meetings, they discussed horses and the conduct of war over dinner and champagne. Well, thank you folks for watching. Please like and subscribe. I hope to bring more videos to you. This was a nice out-of-state adventure for my daughter and I again. Sorry that some of the places were closed. It was kind of a spur-of-the-moment thing. She had time that she had to use to get time off she had to use. And so we just made a plan and hopped in the truck and took off. So met some interesting people along the way, got to see some stuff. Primary cause to drive down here was to see the Indiana Tractor Museum, which we did. So after that, this was all garnish on the top of the dressing. So appreciate you all watching. Please like and subscribe, comment, share. Have a nice day.